told my brother and his wife, and their dog, they can't stay with me while they're looking for a place. I am recently widowed. I lost my husband very suddenly to brain cancer after 40 years of marriage. I was his sole caretaker in his final days, and it was incredibly difficult for me, both mentally and physically. I've been caring for our 2 children their whole lives and still continue to help out my adult children by helping out with my grandkids to this day. After my husband died in November, I packed up my entire life and moved across the country to TN. I bought my dream home. My husband never could bring himself to retire, so we were unable to fulfill this dream when he was alive. I bought my daughter and her 2 kids a home about 30 minutes away from my house, so they could be nearby and have the same fresh start I have. Things have been great, a lot of change, but we're excited to finally have done something big and brave with our lives, and feel hopeful about the future again. Just a new chapter for us all. My kids and I joked between ourselves that my older brother and his longtime wife would surely eventually try to move in with me. They do have a history of taking advantage of situations and people, but at the same time, we're very close and good people at heart. Although, my brother has made a lot of mistakes financially that have haunted them throughout the past several decades of their lives. They currently stay in a tiny apartment in Southern California, owned by their adult son. They don't pay much rent, if any, and while my brother does do some remote freelance consulting work, I have no idea how much they make or have to support themselves. Because I moved from CA to TN, I have a much bigger house now. It's just me and my dogs, which is exactly how I want it. My daughter and her 2 kids totally could have lived with me in my house, but after 40 years of being the main caretaker for my family, I'm ready to take this time for myself, while I still can. I enjoy being alone, having my own space, and doing what I wish each day, for the first time in my 63 years on Earth. My brother and his wife came out to visit a few weeks back and really loved it out here. They talked about finding a place for themselves, maybe a small rental home or an apartment nearby, so we could spend time together. I would love to see them regularly and have them over for BBQs, etc., but several weeks after their visit they texted me letting me know they had hired movers, and were going to put all their belongings in my workshop and stay with me for a few days, while they look for a place of their own. My daughter freaked out, said they will never leave, and if they do it'll be because I had to help them get approved for a lease and help with down payments/security deposit, etc. Suddenly, I could feel my newfound freedom, that I've waited over 40 years to claim, slipping through my fingers. The stress of not knowing how long they, and their dog, would stay or if they'd ever leave was overwhelming. I got the courage to tell them that they need to find a place before they move out here. Their reaction was even more upsetting than their initial plans. In fairness to my brother, he replied, "No problem," as he tends to sweep things under the rug and pretend they never happened, which in this case, was fine with me. But my sister-in-law sent me a defensive text asking why I have lost all faith in them, saying her credit is good, and they would only stay with me a few days. However, in the very next line, she wrote that if they didn't find a place, they would get a storage unit for all their belongings, as if their furniture in my workshop would be the issue. I felt like she totally contradicted herself, only further revealing their lack of a stable plan, and vast void in logic that would inevitably fall on me to fill in perpetuity. All I could say is finding a place before moving out here really is the only way, but that I hope they do find a place and move out here soon. She stopped replying to me and is now ghosting me. They know I don't like confrontation and that the tension is surely wearing me down. I have no assurance they could get approved for a lease with their history, nor that they even really want to. A part of me thinks they believe that because I have a large home, live alone, and live comfortably, they deserve a piece of the pie my late husband and I spent our entire lives making. And I'm being selfish by setting what I see as healthy boundaries. Did I dodge the biggest bullet ever, or am I the idiot for not letting them come move in temporarily? Now, here are the comments. Not the idiot. Listen to your daughter, they will not leave after they put their feet in your house. Comment 2. This kind of happened with me. My GF has let her brother, his girlfriend, pregnant but has now given birth and cats move in. The idea was, they was supposed to sign up for the council housing, like what you sign up to find housing if you're deemed homeless. We only have a little 3-bed house. We have 2 cats and a German Shepherd puppy, 6 months. We now have 4 adults, 1 baby and 5 animals in the house. It's been over a month and a bit now, and they still haven't signed up for the housing and aren't making a huge effort to find somewhere to stay. Everything feels awkward, and it's hard to try and remove someone from the house when they have some relation to you. They get into constant arguments and the house no longer feels like it's yours. Half of the fridge has gone, half of the cupboard, half of the dining room area and the spare room, and there is only 3 seats in the living room, double couch and a single one. So you can't really sit in there anymore. I know your house is a fair size, but you get the gist. Listen to your daughter on this one. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for walking out on a date I didn't know I was on? My male 39 relationship of 11 years with my ex ended 3 and a bit years ago. I decided then that was the last relationship for me and I didn't want a relationship again. Life isn't all that bad. For some reason though, people have started to get a bit weird about it, especially my colleagues. And mainly women. I can't work that one out as the dudes I know are a lot more chill about it usually. Who think they know better than me, tell me I don't want to get lonely, am a great catch, have a lot to offer, etc. I had such a discussion like it a couple of weeks ago at work, particularly with one colleague, female 30, who talks about it a lot, and why because she's married. Is leaving and because we're friends, I was going to meet her on Monday for a coffee/meal. So I turn up and she's not there, so I text her. As I do and I think I'm waiting, I see an old colleague, A, who both me and S used to work with in other jobs. So I say hi to A and make small talk for a bit and I say something like, I wonder where S is. A goes, I don't know what you mean, I thought the date was between us two. I then put 2 and 2 together and realize S set me up on a date without me realizing and A thinking I know I'm on a date. So I say basically to a sorry, but I'm leaving, sorry S wasted her time and go. I then ring S and she doesn't answer, so I send her a really angry text. Later, I get a call from her asking what happened. I told her. She ignored all my anger and went, so you walked out on A? What the frick? That's so not cool, you should have at least stayed. I ignored her and hung up. I got into work the next day and everyone knows as she's already told them and they said I shouldn't have went mad as S was only doing me a favor. One colleague in particular said he would have loved to go on a date with someone as hot as A, presumably he's seen a picture then. I then get DIY therapy advice, I'm wasting my life, shouldn't be lonely, need therapy, etc. I told them to frick off and stop watching Dr. Philosophy. Today, the atmosphere is really icy. Am I the idiot for it all? Edited to add an update. You're all right, poor A had no idea at all. So I've just dropped her a line on her LinkedIn, it's the only contact details I have for her, and apologized for my reaction. Explained why and said it's no reflection on her at all, she didn't deserve that. Second update. Just heard back from A on LinkedIn. She said I have nothing to apologize for, she totally understands, and said she's absolutely livid with S. I replied back thanking her for understanding. And I have no idea why, but I invited her for a coffee so we could catch up properly. I wasn't expecting to do that, but I did. Now, here are the comments. Not the idiot, go to HR. This is not appropriate for the workplace. She has no right to play matchmaker with coworkers, comment 2. That's not appropriate of her. Also, why do people assume someone who is single is sad and lonely? I know many people who have chosen to remain single and are living their best lives. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not wanting my incestuous cousins at my wedding? I'm getting married this August and there's some controversy with my family over who's invited and who isn't. Am not comfortable with my cousin Rod, male 31, and pregnant cousin Ireland, female 17, being at my wedding as they're in what I think is an inappropriate relationship. Not only is she way too young and pregnant with his baby, they are also related, their parents are siblings. I thought this would be an obvious issue, but my family sees no problem with it. When my Aunt Rhonda, Rod's mother, heard that he wouldn't be invited, she freaked out. She couldn't believe that I wasn't inviting my own cousins to my wedding. When I explained why I was uncomfortable with it, Rhonda said that I was the only one in the family who thought so and that I shouldn't make such a big deal. After being confronted by the rest of my family on the matter, I have in and sent Ireland and Rod an invite. I was already unhappy with it, and to make matters worse, Ireland is insisting on wearing a white dress. I explained why her choice of outfit would be disrespectful. She argued that she should get to wear a white dress as she and Rod haven't gotten a wedding, despite her being pregnant. Now this is the only issue my fiancé has. She was fine with the age gap and incest thing because love is love, but Ireland wearing white is apparently too far. I honestly don't know what to do. I feel like I'm going crazy because this situation is so obviously wrong in my eyes, but nobody around me thinks so. I don't want to disappoint them, but I really don't want Ireland and Rod and my wedding to mess things up. Does anyone see where I'm coming from, or am I the idiot and just don't realize? Now, here are the comments. Not the idiot, your whole family is nuts, including your finance who is okay with incest and grooming a minor, but draws the line at a white dress. If I was you, I'd get in my car and just keep driving without looking back at any of them. Comment 2. I wouldn't marry someone who thought being a pedo was okay. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for lying to my fiancé about how my first divorce really went down? I, female 34, have been with my fiancé, male 40, for 6 years now. He proposed a year ago and we were looking at a small October wedding. Before I was with my fiancé, from 21 to 26 I was married to my ex-husband, 34M. Those were some of the happiest and worst years of my life. My ex was the most attractive guy I had ever met, and even now he looks like a 24-year-old instead of an almost 35-year-old. However, we were stuck in dead-end jobs because we were both high school dropouts living in Alabama. We were creatives who wanted to save money to move to New York or LA, but never had any money. We both worked in service positions, but I felt that most of the people who walked in the doors were just idiots. I grew to hate serving them, and this reflected in the tips and performance reviews I got. Meanwhile, my ex would get mad at me not showing up to work and saying the people I served deserved basic respect from me. I ended up quitting my job and my ex made me take the job at the hotel where he worked. And I got more depressed because I felt life was passing me by and my ex expected us to accept our life was just going to be about work. We got into more fights about how he had to convince the manager to not fire me. Finally, I got so depressed that I started talking to a friend of mine who was a nightclub dancer in Atlanta. I took a train there and tried out. I was ashamed to tell my husband that I was doing this behind his back, and didn't want to face his anger over me quitting the job he got me. So one day I just packed up and left. My ex filed for divorce and listed abandonment as the cause. We only had $2,000 in assets. To settle the divorce, my ex mailed me a check for $900, assumed our credit card debts, and that was that. He has never contacted me again, so I assumed he was not hurt. I eventually became a hospital receptionist and met my now fiancé, who is a radiologist. I told him about being divorced once, but said that we grew apart, and then sat down and amicably worked out a divorce. My fiancé replied it was a mature decision that spoke well to my character. I thought that the omission of detail was far from evil. I was not unfaithful or abusive. However, in the midst of announcing our engagement, a friend of my ex resurfaced and he was able to contact my fiancé without my knowledge. From there, my fiancé dug up information about my divorce, including the fact I was accused of abandonment by my ex. He even talked to former friends of mine. He finally confronted me and said that I lied about how I ended things with my ex and called me cold. He said that this gave him cold feet about who he was marrying and that he wanted to postpone the wedding indefinitely. I am heartbroken. He's now staying somewhere else and says he needs time to think. We had an argument where I was angry he invaded my privacy about something that happened a decade ago. I have been supportive of his career and stuck around for 6 years waiting for him to be ready to commit. Am I the idiot? I hate the fact that Alabama divorces are public record and he's using that to defend his actions. And hashtag X200B. Now, here are the comments. You're the idiot. You lied to your partner about something very significant. Maybe you didn't hold that marriage in high regard, but to most people, marriage is not taken lightly. You don't have to tell your partner every detail of your past. But the fact that you told him something completely opposite of what happened and he found out from someone else makes everything you say now not at all believable. You lost his trust and you have to accept the very real possibility you probably won't get it back. Comment 2. This was all on you. You were the one who lied, and everyone knows lies have a way of coming out on their own. You're the idiot. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.